Yes, you really are risking millions of dollars in your Stellar XLM investment because you don't quite know how to extract the most amount of profits from this investment. And I know what you're thinking. I do, but you really don't. Let me show you a strategy today where you can literally squeeze an extra 5, 10, maybe even 15 to 20 more X's out of your potential rewards with Stellar. Now, this importantly is cross-transferable. You can use this in any project, but today I'm going to break down Stellar for you guys, for all of you that are interested in this project. Now, the criteria that we use, I've formulated to be as simple to use as possible. It is behind me. I'm not going to go over it because I do touch on this in other videos, but essentially we'll be using these 4 steps today to come up with the best dollar cost average price that is reasonable, when to sell, and how to ladder sell this strategically, all right? This is going to give us some really good returns, but ultimately it's going to give us the most amount of rewards in the safest possible way. So when do we begin buying? Well, let's take a look at the current chart from year to date with Stellar. Now, I use year to date, those of you who know my channel, because Bitcoin was at its lowest price respective to the last few years at $16,500. And if we have a look, the price of Stellar back then is almost where it's at now. We're at a 20% up from the price back at $0.073 or cents. The market cap back down there was about $1.9 billion with the 26.1 billion tokens in circulation. Fast forward to today, it's at $0.088. Market cap is at 2.3 billion and the circulating supply is at 26.8 billion, which means the circulating supply has only increased 2.6%, which actually isn't that bad compared to other projects as well. Now, compared to other projects, they have kind of moved about a 2, 3, 4, 5x up in price since the start of the year. So it's very good to see Stellar hasn't really moved too much for those of you who want to obviously buy more. Now, let's just quickly glaze over what this looked like in 2018, just to provide you with a better understanding of how good the price is right now. So back then, right, the kind of lows from, this is the very, very start of 2018 to where we are right now, we really only saw the lowest point over here at $0.036, the market cap being 700 million and the circulating supply being about 20 million tokens. Now again, fast forward, we are only up about 32% in terms of the token dilution and only a 2.4x up. So again, guys, this is really good prices. We are literally pretty much on par with what it was 2019, 2020, which is very, very good in my opinion. So this is the critical information we need to know, because obviously what we've identified there is, yes, right now is actually a good time to roughly begin dollar cost averaging. We'll talk about what price in a minute, but this is some critical information that we really do need to assess, right? This is how we're going to find the price. What we do is get the market dominance. We have to make a couple assumptions, we'll get to that in a second, and divide that by the vesting and emissions, at least what it will be in 2025 at the tip of the next bull market. Now, what I've used as an indicator, because for those who don't know, Stellar doesn't actually have a vesting schedule. What it does is the foundation holds the rest of the locked up tokens and they can emit those whenever they want. So we really don't know. We'll get to why in just a second, but I've worked out from about January 2018, which is where it's kind of been a bit steady. It's about 7.4% on average emitted every single year. Okay. Now again, this can come out whenever, but the good thing is it is a max supply, maximum of 50 billion tokens. So there won't be any more. All right, let's talk about the dominance, right? Or at least where the market cap will go. The first thing we're going to assume is that the market cap on the global side of things increases to $10 trillion. Now, for those who don't know, the general consensus is between 5 to 10 trillion. The last bull market, we saw about a 3 trillion blow off top market cap. But that was just with retail curiosity, people like you and I dabbling around crypto. Whereas you fast forward to sooner or later, 2025, I believe it'll go a bit more because we'll have institutional and national demand, some more demand from the big players. Second assumption, now this is something that you can all go ahead and use, which is market dominance. This gives us an idea of the market cap of the project at any given time compared to the overall market cap. And you see with assumption number 1, if we can know the global market cap and what the dominance will be on our project, we can get a pretty good idea of the market cap. Okay, so back in, now I'll admit, the website I used to get this data, Lunar Crush, was being very annoying. So this data is correct, but it isn't up to my typical standards, okay? 2.7% back here at its very, very all-time high, okay? 2.7%, which was quite a lot, all right? Now, the price back here was at 93 cents, and the market cap was $16 billion, and circulating supply was a lot less than what it is now at 17.8 billion tokens. But look at this. The XRP lawsuit happened about here. Again, so the dominance is in pink, right? Well, it kind of killed XLM's dominance because ever since then, it's been a lot less than its price. And typically, dominance is more than price, typically in most projects. Again, this is because of XRP and its lawsuit. Right now, it's sitting about 0.11% in terms of market dominance, which is not good considering this project was way up there once upon a time, regarded as one of the very best. And I believe it still is. But this gives us a very good indication that, hey, a lot of this does kind of hedge or pin on XRP's lawsuit. So I believe that we can kind of use this in two ways. We'll touch on why in a sec, right? So let's use this data to formulate where I think the price will go to in 2025, because we can then use this to go, where do we need to start buying to get the multipliers we need? Again, we'll loop back to it. So the minimum price, right, I see the blow off top going to is $20 billion market cap. Again, the benchmark from the previous all-time high. This takes into consideration a suppressed price from the ongoing XRP lawsuit rather. So again, 20 bill market cap, not quite a 2x from its previous all-time high. Its previous all-time high was actually about $16 billion market cap. So not double at all, but that was a typo. Essentially, the other thing we need to consider is 50 billion tokens are going to be in circulation. Now, again, this is the max side of things, and right now we're about half that, so this is like the very, very worst case. I don't think this will happen, so you can kind of take these prices and push them out a little bit more onto the higher side, but ultimately, we do worst case situation on this channel. So, the interesting thing is, this will be a price of 40 cents per token on the minimum side of things. Now, what I've done here is got, okay, if we had the current market cap up here instead and divided by the $50 billion max supply, we'd actually find that the token price would be about 0.047, meaning that we need to take that 0.047 from the current price of about 0.088, and that kind of is a good indication typically of when we should start buying to counter inflation. But again, it's difficult because, of course, there isn't going to be 50 billion, at least I hope, tokens in circulation come 2025. So you'll see how I kind of balance that out in the chart in a minute, right? Now, on the max side of things, very, very max, I'm going to estimate that we're going to see a 3% market dominance from XLM. Now, this is very ambitious, I must admit, because this is a 300 billion market cap. Only possible if the XRP lawsuit is a win and roadmap is met. Again, this is going to kind of come to roughly the same dominance it had back in 2018, but I think it can do it because it's one of the very best projects in the space. And of course, the good news of XRP is just going to blow these projects up, okay? But again, this is like the very, very, very max side of things. Again, considering all the tokens are in circulation, worst price at this situation will be $6. So we can kind of start using these numbers to go, okay, when do we start buying? You need to go and ask yourself this serious question. Okay, based on these numbers, again, I'll chart it. Where do I need to start buying to get the multipliers I'm investing in an XLM for? If you're investing in Stellar hoping for a 90x or a 70x, chances are you're going to have to buy in pretty cheap, probably buying at about 1 or 2 cents, right? And will that happen? Probably not. So then you can go into other projects and begin looking into other projects. You might love, this might be your favorite project, but it's not going to meet your standards. So you need to ask yourself this here because, again, you can plan your dollar cost average around it. This will give us a benchmark as to where we need to start buying or dollar cost averaging to meet our expectations. So this is what I want to do, right? This is my expectations. I'm going to take my initial investment out to secure my return. So if I invest $10,000 in Stellar, I am taking that all out at 40 cents, which again is that minimum I expect the blow off top to go to, but I do see it going a lot more than that, okay? So again, this will all depend on how the market is behaving. This can definitely drop and go up. It all just does depend. And ladder sell most of my investment to $2, buying at 8 cents or less and selling just before resistance levels. So these two numbers are new, right? These are kind of new to you. The $2 is because the maximum, if that makes sense, I see the price going to is a 1% dominance, okay? This could also be the best case, but a 1% of $10 trillion market cap comes to a $2 price, right? Because that would mean that XLM's market cap would be $100 billion. 100 billion divided by 50 billion is, well, $2, right? And the 8 cents actually comes from, well, the current price is about 8.8 cents. And I said to you before, if we were to counter inflation, or at least the worst case inflation, we would have to take that new sort of circulating supply total price from the current price, which would be roughly about 0.04 cents if you're following me. But that would mean that we would have to start dollar cost averaging at 0.04 or 5 cents, which is ridiculous, right? So this counters the fact that I don't believe all the tokens will be in circulation. So let's plot this for those of you scratching your head going, what is this guy rambling on about? This is what it looks like when I go to buy a project. I have all this mapped out, especially these blue lines. We'll get to that in a second, right? So this is the current price action of Stellar. It's so minuscule because obviously we're expanding the chart, right? So the 0.08 cents, this is where we start dollar cost averaging. We can then use this to get the 40 cents initial investment out. This is that green line up here. So this here is only a 4x. So imagine that. Imagine you're someone who wants at least a 10x from XLM. You see that if you start dollar cost averaging at 8 cents, you're only going to 4x if you follow this strategy. And that might not be good enough for you. Okay, so then you can move this 8 cents down to maybe 4 cents, then it's an 8x or thereabouts, you know, it goes up even more than that, right? So you can begin synthesizing when you should start dollar cost averaging, and if that's actually, if that is actually going to ever hit, because if it doesn't hit, you know, there's no point in you even bothering, okay? So from here, take my initial investment out. Again, this is that $2 price range, right? This is the realistic max 1% market dominance level. Again, we're going to get 24x here. So I'm going to have most of my tokens out by here. You know, again, it all depends. If it's looking quite bad, I might have them all out over here around the dollar mark. It really just does depend, guys. I can speak about this all day, every day. This is just an idea, right? It updates in real time, and don't worry, I will definitely keep you guys informed over time. But nevertheless, 24x, okay? I'm going to have about 10% of my tokens ready just in case I misjudge this and it does push up to the $6, which is actually a 73x from 8 cents. Again, this is a very if then that statement. Do not hope for this level at all. Again, if the XLM and XRP sort of lawsuit swindle thing goes through and XRP wins that, well, it might actually blast past that, because remember, we're considering all the tokens are in circulation. So this is, again, the very worst price for a $300 billion market cap. Okay, so what are these blue lines, right? These blue lines are me ladder selling before key resistance levels uncharted. So it's all good and fine trying to find resistance and support levels in charted previous price action, but in uncharted action, you got nothing to go off. So what you need to do essentially is locate the key typical resistance levels, right? So it depends on what project it is. For a project like, you know, XLM, I've picked 5 cents, but for other projects like Quant Network, it might be $5. And as we go up, we actually offset that. So I'm not too sure if you can see, but essentially at the 40 cent level, I'm not selling at 45 cents or 50 cents. I'm selling at 44 cents, 49 cents, right? So I'm actually going up in increments of 5 cents just before that 5 cent increment, because it's a psychological game with these sort of things to people. They expect, let's just say Cardano was a perfect example of this last bull market. People were expecting like a $1 or $2 price, right? It got to that level, near that level, and it found serious resistance. The bulls had to push it over the line. And the same thing here, right? We definitely want to not be in that situation when we're second guessing ourselves and just taking the profits. Now, it depends. You have to obviously decide yourself how much of your tokens do you want to sell at these levels. I suggest working off percentages, all right? Hopefully that's all made sense. It definitely is a bit daunting for those of you who are new. Now, this slide right here is a great screenshot potential for those of you who are on phones. This will kind of keep you in check based on everything I've said. It's a nice, easy reference point. Now, some of the important events and updates that are happening with Stellar in the future that might help propel the higher price action is some of the things on here. Now, I've discussed these already in a separate video going more in depth into Stellar and its potential, but essentially I'll go over it again very, very briefly. I'm not going to read the parts in white because you guys can go and watch that video if you so like, right? I'll link it at the end of this video. Soroban development. This is their new state-of-the-art smart contract platform. Very important because ultimately developers are what create the demand for the users, and Stellar's great for this because it's going to be like the decentralized central bank of the world in a way, right? So if you can build on top of that, it's very powerful, okay? Also, they're looking at improving their scalability and decentralization to prepare for increased traffic. This might be a very bullish thing that they're preparing for. Maybe they know some insider things with the XRP lawsuit. Who knows? Two different companies at the end of the day, though. Growth as well. So they are looking to provide a blockchain solution to businesses that actually works rather than just trying to be on par, if not slightly worse than existing centralized systems through onboarding and pushing of the world's most used assets, ensuring on and off ramps are easy to use, accessible, and cost competitive, as well as, again, pushing Soroban so that Stellar can create a strong DeFi ecosystem and real use cases. Now, this Wasn't me just talking off the top of my head. This came from the website itself, so it's very important. Now, there is one very, very important update I do want to share with you guys, and that's this. Please like the video. I really appreciate that. I know, I probably fell on deaf ears, but that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you to Imran. Thank you, my friend, for commenting on all my videos, supporting the channel, and helping the community as well, answering questions, so on and so forth. I appreciate you a lot. Now, with that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you did want to hear more or see more of Stellar, watch the 2 videos on your screen now. I've made multiple videos on Stellar. You really do need to pay attention because there are some concerns I have with this project, and there's also some very, very bullish things happening as well. If not, follow me on Twitter. Thanks so much. Talk to you all soon.